Reading complex text. Read the passage, David Crockett gets a pet. As you read, stop and use text evidence to answer each question. Davy Crockett gets a pet. The legendary hero Davy Crockett actually existed. Born in Tennessee in 1786, he grew up on the frontier, hunting and clearing land. Later, he went into politics and served in the United States Congress. Davy Crockett was famous for his bear hunting skills and for his sense of humor. In 1815, Crockett became very ill while traveling and was reported to have died. It is said that he remarked on the reports of his death, "I knowed this was a whopper of a lie as soon as I heard it." After his death in 1836, stories about Crockett's life were embellished and widely exaggerated, and became popular tall tales like this one. Early life. Long ago in Tennessee, a comet blazed across the sky. People watched in amazement as it smashed into the top of the tallest mountain and lit up the surrounding area like fireworks. When the smoke cleared, people were amazed to find a baby on that mountain top. They took one look at this newborn baby, Davy Crockett, and realized that he was extraordinary. David's remarkable difference from other children quickly became apparent. He shot up the height like a sapling. He consumed huge amounts of bear meat and drank gallons of buffalo milk. As a result, Dave already weighed more than 200 pounds by the time he was 6 years old. The broad-shouldered youngster was often seen carrying thunder in one hand and throwing lightning with the other. He boasted, "I can outrun, outfight, outyell anyone." As Dave grew up, he seemed to possess both human and animal qualities. He ran as swiftly as cheetah, swam as easily as a fish, and was strong as an ox. He bragged about all the animals he had fought, including wildcats and bears. 1. What does the introductory paragraph help you infer about the details and descriptions in this passage? Big trouble. Bragging can sometimes cause trouble. However, and that is exactly what happened to Dave. One day, as he was walking home through a thick forest, dark clouds began rolling in, and the sky grew as black as night. The wind gusted violently, and thunder rumbled ominously above. Dave had been walking for a long time with nothing to eat, and by this time he was famished. As torrents of rain began to fall, he knew that he had to find something to eat. Dave saw two eyes shining from behind a group of trees. "Aha!" he exclaimed. "There is an opportunity for a meal." To the animal hiding behind the trees he said, "My name is Davy Crockett, and I am a hungry fellow. That's bad news for you, because I intend to eat you." At that moment, lightning lit up the forest, and Dave saw that the creature behind the tree was not as small and meek as he had imagined. The animal he had threatened to eat was a huge, strong cougar. Dave quickly changed his tune. "Excuse me," he said, "I've apparently mistaken you for someone else." 2. How does these sections of the passage build on the previous one and establish Dave's conflict? The cougar paid no attention to Dave's words. Instead, it crept slowly from behind the tree, growling and snarling and baring its teeth. Then it crouched low, preparing to pounce. Dave decided to try a little humor, so he chuckled and said, "You want to sing, do you? How about we try a duet?" Still, the cougar kept inching toward him. Since humor did not appear to be working, Dave decided it was time to get serious. "I've fought my share of wildcats and bears and other creatures," he told the cougar. "I guess I can fight you too." The battle. Dave began to mimic the cat, growling and snarling and baring his teeth until he looked and sounded as fierce as the cougar. The two circled around each other for a while until they both were a little dizzy. All the while, the cougar kept switching its tail and its ears, and Dave did his best to imitate every move. Suddenly, Dave crouched low and moved swiftly toward the cougar. He started to pounce, but the cougar was ready for him. Down they went together onto the wet ground, wrestling fiercely and rolling around in the puddles. Wrestling a cougar is not an easy task, but neither is wrestling David Crockett. The ferocious fight went on and on, with Dave sometimes on top and sometimes the cougar. It began to seem as if the battle would continue forever. 3. In what ways are Dave Crockett and the cougar similar and different? Finally, Dave got free, slipped quickly around behind the cougar, and picked it up by the tail. He swung the huge cat around and around in the air like a lasso until the cougar yowled in pain and frustration. "I'll stop swinging," Dave hollered, "if you promise to stop fighting and behave." He set the subdued cougar back on the ground without loosening his grasp on its tail. "You are coming home with me," Dave told the cougar sternly. "I'm going to teach you some manners." So they headed home through the pouring rain, covered with mud and wet leaves. Dave did not relinquish his hold on that tail all the way back to his cabin. A happy ending. After they had both cleaned themselves up, Dave told the cougar, "You'd better learn to make yourself useful around here." The cougar decided that might not be a bad idea, so Dave taught his new pet how to help with household chores and yard work. It could rake leaves with its huge claws, even faster than Dave could with rakes in both hands. Its long tail came in handy for sweeping dust out from under the furniture. As the weeks went by, Dave and the white cat became the best of companions. They often went walking about the countryside together. On dark nights, the cat used its keen eyesight to lead Dave home. They would practice singing as they walked along. The cougar became such a good singer that it even joined a choir. People passing by Dave's cabin often reported hearing Dave and his beloved friend singing duets. 4. What is the narrator's point of view, and how does it affect the way events in the passage are described?